Okay, this assignment's pretty short, but it can't be confusing. A band performs a free concert. There are 200 people in the crowd at the start of the concert. The number of people in the crowd grows 15% every half hour. How many people are in the crowd after 3 hours? Okay, so you got people and hours. So hours is X, people is Y. So per. People per hour. Now what happens to people per hour? They grow or they're growing by 15%, but it doesn't say every hour, it says every half hour, so you just make a parentheses instead of plus fit, just put the reminder that it's a half hour. Okay, now there's a couple ways you can go about this. I'm gonna choose a certain way because it applies better to what we're doing. There's about 5 different avenues you can take when they give you the half hour crap. Okay, you could actually define per hour, if it's 15 and a half hour, it'd be 30% in a full hour. You could do it that way. Okay, but that is not going to translate well to future examples. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. Okay. You might disagree with the avenue I take, but that's fine, okay? So the percent means it's repeated multiplication, and that's an expo function, okay? So we're not going to be making the line, okay? No line. So hours and people. Now here's what I'm going to do about my half hour, okay? I'm going to put a half above that. So instead of 0, 1, 2, I'm going to go 0, and then I'm going to number up by a half. So I'd have 1 half, and then another half would take me to 1. Okay. So then I do the same thing. I always do 200 people. Then, oops, I forgot to make that into my factor. It's got to be 100% plus 15%. Okay. So 115%. Sorry, I should have done that right off the bat. Okay. So 1.15 is my growth factor, okay? So that's what you're multiplying it by, 1.15. $230, that's after a half hour. 230 times 1.15 would give me 264.5. If you want to put 265, that's fine, doesn't really matter. Now we have 3 hours we got to figure out, so we make our exponent function. Okay. So it's a times b to the x power equals y. So my y started at 200. Then I multiplied by 1.15. Now, don't just put 3, because you are not going by full hours. Okay, you're not going by 1 hour. What you need to do, I'll put to the x for now, okay, is take that 3 and divide it by a half, okay? If you're going by different increments than 1, you're going to divide that, okay, by whatever that is. Now, how many halves go into 3? It's 6, okay? So it would be to the power of 6, okay? So x would be 3, not really, because it's not going by full hours, it's going by a half. Now let me explain why that 6 makes sense. Let's say I did that half all the way to 3, okay? So that's 1 jump, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is why that's 6. So really I don't do it any differently other than to number that by a different amount, okay? So I take 200 times 1.15 to the 6th power, 463. Okay. I'm going to go over another one. A certain culture of yeast increases by 50% every 3 hours. A scientist places 9 grams of the yeast in a culture dish. How much yeast will there be in 12 hours? So, hours in grams. Hours is x, grams is y. So per. So it'd be grams per hour. Now again, what's happening to the grams? Well, they're going up by 50%. But instead of per hour, it's every 3 hours, okay? So like, you know how I did that half hour? I'm going to put a little thing down here saying that it's 3 hours, okay? Now, it's still an exponent function. I need to find my growth factor by taking 100% plus 50%. That's 150%. Move the decimal twice, and then it would be 1.50, okay? So that's what you need on an exponent function. You need a growth or a decay factor. If it's a percentage, you just take it with 100. Okay, so hours is X, grams is Y. But since the hours go by threes this time, we're not going to go 0, 1, 2. We're going to go 0, 3, 6. Okay. All right, so the gram started at 9, then you multiply by your 1.50, the growth factor, okay? $13.5 times 1.50 again. $20.25. 12 hours, okay? Question mark for the grams. Now we go set up our exponent function. We just have to remember to do something with the 12 rather than just put it to the 12th power, okay? So a times b to the power of x equals y, okay? All right, so we started at 9, and then we started multiplying by the growth factor 1.50. To the power of x equals y. Now, you take that 12, but since you were not going by ones, you're going to divide 12 by 3. You're going, and that's 4. So it's actually a 4 that I put in for the x, okay? Because think about it. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 4, okay? So 9 times 1.50 to the power of 4. 45.5, just go 46. So 46 grams. Now, example 3 and 4, I kind of skipped. Those first two just got you thinking. Now we're going to get to what the assignment's about. A ventriloquist puppet is worth $50. It will double in value every 5 years. How much will it be worth in 35 years? Double means times 2, okay? So you got dollars and years. Years is X, dollars is Y. So dollars per year. Well, we don't have the dollars per year. What it does from its starting amount is it doubles, so you're going to put a times 2, and then under it you're going to put 5 years. Now, this is not a percent, but it's still an exponent function because we're going to be multiplying, okay? So expo. I just don't need to take the 100% because it's not a percent, okay? So I go to my table. This is years, and this is dollars, okay? But remember, the years are going by fives because it's every 5 years, okay? It's not happening every year, every 5 years. So instead of 0, 1, 2, we go 0, 5, 10, okay? So the initial amount's 50. Now you're like, well, what's the factor? It's 2. That's what a double does. It's just times 2. You don't need to mess with a percent or anything, so times 2. So it's 100 times 2 is 200. We need to find 35 years. Okay. So a times b to the x power equals y. So the a and b is just like always, 50 times 2, okay, to the x power equals y. Now be careful, you're not just going to put 35. So 35, but since you're going by fives, you have to divide it by 5, and that's 7. Okay, so it's to the power of 7. So 50 times 2 to the power of 7 is $6,400. So that's going to be a pretty valuable piece of antique when I'm done. Okay, a town's population will double every 10 years. Double means times 2. Okay, the town has 2,000 people. How many people will there be in the town in 40 years? So you got people and years. Years is X, people is Y. So per people per year. Okay, we don't have people per year. It's doubling every 10 years. Okay, double means times 2, but since it's not every year, okay, that's what the word double means. You need to just put 10 years underneath it. Okay. So, and I don't need to mess around with the this is right there, the times 2, that's your growth factor, okay? You don't have to do that 100% plus or minus it, okay? Because it ain't a percent, it's just doubling. So X, Y, years, people, but you got to put a little 10 up there, okay? So it goes 0, 10, 20, okay? So we started at 2,000, and the factor is just times 2. That's what a double does. So that's 4,000. That's 8,000. Okay. And then 40 years I put there with a question mark. Now you could just times 2 again. I mean, it'll work. If you did a test, I mean, that's how I would probably do it. But A times B to the X power. So A is 2,000. B is what you're multiplying by. That is 2 to the X power equals Y. Now, at first glance, you think 40 is X, but it's not. You got to divide 40 by 10, okay? Now, some of you are going to be like, well, how do I know whether I have to divide or just put it in for X? Well, if it's going by 1, you don't have to divide, because a number divided by 1 is just a number, okay? So that's a 4. Think of it, 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. So you take 2,000 times 2 to the power of 4, 32,000. Okay. You can put that there, it'd be 32,000. Makes sense, because if you, in 30 years it doubles to 16, it doubles to 32. Okay, next problem. Oops. Let's go to example 3 back. An antique hunting rifle is worth $300. It doubles in value every 6 years. How much will the rifle be worth in 18 years? Okay. So dollars in years. So years is X, dollars is Y. So per. Dollars per year, again, there is no dollars per year, it doubles. So that means times 2, giving us an exponent function. Now, if it just doubles, you don't have to mess around with the 100% minus or plus, okay, like you did last week. But you still need to put that it's not every year, it's every 6 years. So when I make my table, X is years, that needs to be numbered by 6. X is increments of 6 years, so dollars. So 0, 6, 12. So it starts at $300. Then my growth factor is 2. On a doubles problem, it's 2. So that's 600, 1,200. We got to find 18 years. Well, you could probably just do it again, would get the answer, but I don't want to confuse. If you just times 2 again, that would get you to your 18. That would be the answer. But if you want to write out the function, A is 300. The growth the factor's 2 to the X equals Y. I mean, you can put the 18 right there. But since going by 6, we need to divide our 18 by 6 before we put it in for X. It's 3. Makes sense. 6, 12, 18. So 300 times 2 to the third power is 2,400. If I were thinking about it, I probably would not just set that. I probably would have just times by 2 again, get me to the 18, rather than mess with the equation. Okay, Mr. Hermson autograph picture is worth 5 cents. It will double in value every 5 years. How much will it be worth in 40 years? Okay, so you got dollars in years. Remember, you're not going to give your dollars per year, so you have to adjust. Okay. Okay, now what's happening with the money in the years is it's doubling. That means times 2. And it's not happening every year. I just make a note to myself it's happening every 5 years. Okay, but that's still an exponent function. We just don't have to do all the plus and minus and move in the decimal because we're not dealing with a percent. So years and dollars. Okay, but remember the years are not every year, it's every 5 years. So I go 0, 5, and 10. So that thing starts at 0.05. Then it doubles, means you just times it by 2. That would be 0.1. You can put 10 cents if you want. Times 2, that'd be 0.2 or 0.20. Then what we want to know is when it's 40 years. So that's going to be a ways to 40, so we better set up the function. Okay. A times b to the x power equals y. Okay, so A is 0.05. B is your multiplier of 2. Now put x for now, because we don't want to just throw 40 in there. Now, you can throw 40 in there if you're just moving by ones, but when you're moving by something other ones, you want to divide 40 by 5, and that's 8. So that x would be to the 8th power. So 0.05 times 2 caret 8, 12.8, that'd be $12.80.